I'm Dan Isard. In a previous video, we covered the methodology that I perfected and brought to this profession almost 40 years ago, and my team at Foresight still continues to use to value funeral homes and their real estate. In that previous video, I promised I was going to come back and elaborate on 4 key points to help educate the members of the IFDF as part of the I-Succession plan. Those 4 questions were: what does pre-need do for your business? What are the key factors that affect your value? Can I sell my business and retain the real estate? And the 4th question, and maybe the most difficult to discuss in public, is: will the big boys pay me more than an independent can? Let me take these 4 difficult questions one question at a time. What does pre-need do for the value of my business? Any valuation is an estimate rendered by one informed person. That person, the appraiser, is trying to give their client an opinion of fair market value. Fair market value is widely assumed to be defined as the price in cash or the equivalent a willing buyer would pay to a willing seller, with both parties having all material facts and neither party being under any compulsion to act. While that value is always expressed as a specific dollar amount, in reality, there's a range from low to high. So if I say something is worth $1 million as an example, in reality, it could be worth about $900,000 to $1.1 million. The answer to this first question is very simple. A solid pre-need program that is better than the average pre-need program allows an appraiser to render an opinion that isn't at the middle of these 2 extremes, but more towards the high end. A pre-need program that is below the average would probably render that opinion below the middle of the average. So in typical fashion, answering a question with a question, how can you tell if a business has a solid pre-need program? I can tell you the national average of a pre-need backlog, in other words, the amount of pre-need on your books waiting to mature, is the equivalent of about 140% of a funeral home's average revenue. So if that funeral home has an average revenue of $1 million, an average pre-need program would have about $1.4 million on the books. Question 2, what are the key factors that affect value? Well, the number 1 criteria that drives value is EBITDA. EBITDA. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. So anything that you can do to increase EBITDA increases value. And since value is usually expressed as a multiple of the EBITDA, anywhere from 5 to maybe 9 times EBITDA, anytime you can increase EBITDA by $1, it increases the value by a multiple of that dollar. So whether you're going to sell to a third party, a key person, a child, a regional IFDF member, or a national company, your objective is to increase EBITDA. Another thing that adds to value is the staff. Anyone buying a funeral home needs staff to operate it. In the event the staff is patronage driving, in the event the staff is good at what they do, and they represent your business well, then the buyer is going to presume that they're going to do the same thing for them, regardless of whether that buyer is a child, a key person, a regional IFDF member, or a national company. Another factor that adds to value is making sure that your physical properties, building and equipment, are well maintained. Many times a buyer is going to have an allocation in their purchase price for deferred maintenance. But to the degree you can demonstrate that the property and its equipment are in excellent working condition, then the buyer's not going to need to use that cash they've allocated for the deferred maintenance, so they could spend it on purchase price. Let me also comment on one of the most common misconceptions on what does not increase value. And that is paying down your debts. Don't get me wrong, I don't want you to be a scofflaw. I don't want you to be a debtor. But if you have the choice of investing $1,000 on more advertising that might give you 3 or 4 more cases, or using that $1,000 to pay down debt, use it to promote revenue. Revenue promotes EBITDA. EBITDA promotes value. Question 3. Can I sell the business and retain the real estate? Well, this may be a financial necessity if you do not have enough assets to help you be best prepared for your future. But it's typically not a good planning option, because this is a lender issue. Even though iSuccession has an incredible lender involved with this program, that lender can loan more money if in fact someone is buying the real estate. Not only can they loan more money, but they can also allow longer repayment terms. So selling the real estate could take the repayment terms from maybe only 10 years without the real estate to as much as 25 years if somebody's acquiring the real estate. This means they can pay you more. Question 4. Will the big boys pay me more than an individual? The national buyers want you to think that. And in some cases, they may be very motivated or may be making other acquisitions in the region, which is going to encourage them to have more synergies. But the whole plan of education behind iSuccession is to help you be prepared, knowing what your value is today, knowing what you can do to increase the value if it's insufficient for your financial needs, and helping you be best prepared. So can the big boys pay you more? Probably not. The one who could probably pay you the most is the one with the least amount of risk. That could be a child or a key person. Or if a regional IFDF member is acquiring you in a merger, now they have the ability to spread their overhead over 2 properties or 3 properties or 4 properties. The vetted team of experts that are helping the IFDF create iSuccession allow business owners to have top-notch talent to support their business succession, education, and ultimate implementation. All the experts that sit behind the big boys are now able to sit behind you. I hope these 4 compelling questions helped you understand the nuance of a business succession plan. I'll be at Hammock Beach at the IFDF convention in the event you have any questions. Of course, if you want to write to me, here's my contact information.